Hello, everybody. Today is November 24th. Today we're doing business and social. Was that right? I immediately forgot. I always immediately forget.
That's right.
And tomorrow is Thanksgiving here in the U.S. We're just counting down, getting ready. Also, we have a peanut butter update. We were just talking about it, but I thought we'd tell the audience.
Mom's already down 1 jar of peanut butter, but she's slowing down. So I'd say that the rest of it will carry us through the rest of the year. Thank you, random citizen.
The gift was well used.
Did she seem like she was in a better mood
Yes.
after she got the...
Yeah. It was like there's the meme of the possum that got into the pastry factory and it's just like passed out in the corner with all these pastries in front of it. It was like that, but peanut butter, so she's real happy.
I think it was a raccoon.
Whatever.
That is a great picture. Well, you know who is having a great year/pandemic? Nvidia. They've got what everybody wants. Pretty much everything that they put on a truck either gets stolen or sells immediately. That's a good place to be, but they do have some little problems, but really they don't compare because they're killing it.
Nvidia closes up more than 8% following blowout earnings and Metaverse advances. So Nvidia could be the next member of the $1 trillion club.
They have that UK ARM thing, but if you're an Nvidia executive, you don't feel bad about that.
No.
You're looking at the glass half full.
Yep.
You're looking at the vault of gold coins half full, not half empty.
The glass is overflowing.
Remember Amazon Go? Was that in Seattle or Portland? One of those hippie cities. They got the Amazon store where it's completely cashierless. You just go in, you take whatever you want. It charges you for everything. It seems to be working pretty well. So good that another big company has gotten on board.
Starbucks links with Amazon Go for the first cashierless cafe. Starbucks coffee is so crappy and so automated that they just throw a bunch of beans in a hopper. You just come in, pull down the lever and get your coffee and go. That can be automated.
I see you're back on the Panera bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yes, the superior hazelnut coffee.
So the way I understood it is you'd order through either a kiosk or probably your app. The baristas are still there. They just don't interact with you. You order your coffee, they come over, they put it on a little table, you get up and get it. And you can also unlock, I think it's automat style stuff for all of their, sweet goods and foods and so forth. So, interesting.
The sole purpose of the barista now is to just clean the machinery, and the AI machinery knows it, and it's like, I require a steaming.
Now, here's a big question. If it's in one of those same cities, because wasn't it in Seattle?
That would make sense. Oh, no.
New York.
New York.
Oh, New York. It won't be quite as bad. There'll still be quite a few homeless people.
Yeah.
How's the AI going to deal with that?
I was going to say, what about just Karens and whatnot, like people who just go into places like that to get angry because their name's misspelled on the cup? Will they yell at the bot?
It's going to be amazing when the robot, makes the caramel macchiato exactly perfectly, and the Karen is like, this is too much caramel, and it's like,
no, it's not. It just hands it back to you.
that was measured to within 1/10 of 100th of a gram.
But I don't think the bot is making the coffee.
Ah.
I think humans are still making the coffee.
Well, robots should be making the coffee.
Just no cashier.
So no one handling the money.
Right.
Most Starbucks are already like that. If you do the app, if you order with the app, you just go in and there's a barcode exchange, and then you just grab your stuff and go.
Even Panera, they don't have they have an app too, but they also just have those kiosks at the front where it's like you order all there and then you just bypass the cashier ladies entirely.
But see, sometimes I'll take my parents to Panera and I don't even bother with the kiosk.
Oh, I always go to the kiosk. If it's open, I'm there.
So, but in this case, there is no alternative.
I'm able to get the hazelnut with no human interaction at Panera right now today. I walk in and I just go up to the kiosk and it's like hazelnut, and then and then it gives me a cup, and then I go around the corner and there's a thing where I self-serve and I'm done. No human interaction. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. You took all of their work out of it. And you're still paying the same price.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Gates is a controversial figure. A lot of people not very happy with him. He did, we can't really say what he said, but did you see his admission?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
boy,
see that
didn't fit the narrative.
No.
So he's in a little bit of hot water there. And this maybe will give him some points back, although this is also, I'm all for this.
Me too.
But the reason I'm all for it is because it's in Wyoming.
Bill Gates' TerraPower will set up a $4 billion nuclear plant in Wyoming. I'm all for this, not because it's Bill Gates and not because it's in Wyoming, but because the Nuclear Regulation Committee, the NRC, they're paranoid as heck about everything. And we've got all these really new cool designs for nuclear reactors. And we kind of need like a BattleBots style grudge match between all the new designs. And they're paranoid about approving any new designs, because if there's any little flaw that we don't know about in any of the new designs and something catastrophic happens, this committee is going to be blamed. They may be hung in the streets from the lampposts. I mean, it's a valid worry maybe. But this is a new design. And this is maybe the first of several new designs that the regulation committee might actually approve if this one goes really well. Because those old designs are crappy.
This one is molten salt, but it's not thorium molten salt, right? It's still a General Electric design.
Yes.
So it's not that new.
It's replacing a coal plant, I think, that was going to go offline, 2025?
Yeah.
This also isn't the final version. This is just sort of like prove that it works.
Yeah. Because the NRC is not, it's like, we designed this thing in the 90s, and they're like, oh, no, that's too new. Nuclear reactors are like a fine wine. They've got to age for at least 50 years.
Well, what about a crazy world? And yeah, I know ARM exists, and I know there's some other ones, but really, let's be honest, this would be the third, right?
Yes.
You could only call this the third. And what will the world be like if there are 3 real competitors?
I'll correct the headline. Qualcomm's third generation CPU for PCs will take on Apple's M series chips in 2023. Now, Qualcomm, to their credit, they were first to the punch. They beat Apple. They could have potentially had all of the amazing awesomeness of the M1, but on the desktop. But instead, they decided to make, at Microsoft's behest probably, a relatively inexpensive ARM CPU that was kind of underpowered. This one promises not to be underpowered.
I love, a lot of times you'll see social media posts where someone ordered some crappy Chinese knockoff from Alibaba, and it's clothing or a piece of electronics or whatever, and they show the picture compared with what actually arrives in the package. A lot of people do that with fast food as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, like the expectation versus reality. I can't wait till we start seeing those from what actually ships to you through this program, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah. Beginning next year, Apple will send you parts and tools to fix your iPhone and Mac at home. Oh man, we have to find the artwork for this. I needed Krista's opinion on the artwork
Someone
for this.
had the name for it in a comment, and I cannot remember it now.
You got to Google this.
It's their website.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
So just switching this. But the thing that's mind blowing about this is from Apple. This is their official artwork and messaging.
This
Apple.
is
No,
the
this is
style.
a trend. Yeah,
Somebody told us in the comments what the name of it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
I don't remember what it was.
I've
but,
immediately forgotten.
Well, show the chat.
This is a very popular illustration style right
Look
now.
at this. I wish my shoulders were that big.
Really
and the
popular.
arms. My God.
You can actually get illustration like template packs that are similar to this. Not this specific. but-
Also, look at the size of those fingers. You pray this woman's not your proctologist.
I also like how they have sand. Why do they have sand? If you puncture the battery, the only thing you can do is put the battery in sand. A fire extinguisher will not help you.
Yeah, I got to expect that what Apple thinks is going to happen here, and they're probably right, is that 80 to 90% of the people who try this are going to screw it up. Don't you think?
Yeah.
That's going to be sad. And then they'll use that as an excuse to be like, oh, we got to protect our customers.
We have to send you 25 pounds of sand for that battery. What if you accidentally stab it repeatedly?
The repair kit is free, but the shipping is $99.99.
I think most general consumers wouldn't try. Like, I think they would take it to like a third-party shop, right? If that's now an option.
Well, see, they make it impossible for the third-party shop to be able, because Apple tracks the parts. So when you order the parts, it's your parts. The parts cannot be substituted. You also can't buy an iPhone for parts and then use the parts from a brand new iPhone to fix an old iPhone. You have to buy the parts meant for repair, which is perhaps the catch or the darkness in this.
Well, what they're trying to do here is obvious, but the question isn't, will this be good? It won't be good.
Right.
It'll be terrible. The question is this enough to get the regulators off their back for another year?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And I think maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe not Lena Khan and Rosenworcel.
The dream team.
We see this as the Trojan horse that it is. Try again, Apple.
Over in the UK, they are still feeling the pinch of Brexit. It hasn't been as catastrophic as many predicted, but it has been annoying in many ways, including this one.
Amazon to stop accepting Visa credit card issued in the UK, citing high fees. What if the alternative explanation for this is the supply is really tight right now, and we just don't want the headache of people in the UK?
Also very popular. Possible.
Oh, here's another one.
Yeah.
It's another one with massively outsized arms. This is like a Popeye woman. My God.
This is the illustration style now. It's actually been this way for like 2 years now, 2 or 3.
Now that I'm seeing more and more of it, I dislike it greatly. Also, her feet, look at those feet. My God. I know you guys can't see it, but anyway.
We'll see it in a second.
So, Apple and Epic, it's not over. It's maybe resolved in some ways, but they will never stop taking shots at one another and trying to hurt one another. And now we're just kind of looking back at when Google got involved, what they did.
United States amend the complaint against Google, and Google has constructed a Fortnite task force, Epic alleges. So the United States Attorneys General are looking at Google for antitrust now, which is kind of an expansion of the Epic lawsuit because one of those is criminal and the other one is technically civil. Epic has said, look, Google formed a Fortnite task force to try to stay on top of what's going on with Fortnite and sideloading because they were afraid of things that would happen with this. And the Fortnite task force apparently came about as a result of Google saying, well, maybe we should just buy Epic to head this off at the pass. And so the end of that conversation was, well, let's just form a task force. So the discovery on this just keeps on giving.
Do you think any of these tech companies are looking at these cases and being like, we have got to stop communicating like this?
It is fun when they're, like all their obsessive compulsive is like, let's put all this in email so that we all understand what we're talking about.
I mean, they're probably all like us. They're probably working remotely. So, yeah. I mean, that's probably the easiest way, right?
It's like, hey, Bob, what's the plan for avoiding the ire of U.S. antitrust regulators? And it's like, ooh, that's not something you want to put in email.
Well, they could do it over a signal call. Jesus. Something. Being remote doesn't mean that you can't communicate in a safer way. It's probably, though, because we've experienced this, when you're at a lower level, like when you're hired in or you're a smaller person, you have to have those emails.
Yeah.
Because the people at the top will crucify you. When they get blamed for something, they will immediately select somebody else to take that bullet. And the only way you can save yourself is to have emails. So that might be a big part of it.
Man.
Well, Microsoft, they've had a bittersweet relationship with ARM in the past. They fumbled a few times, where Apple has succeeded greatly. But with the new generation of Windows, will they adopt it more? Well, kinda.
Microsoft will not bring x64 emulation to Windows 10 on ARM. Why? Well, those Qualcomm CPUs that they promised us was going to take on the Apple M1, well, it's just not a good user experience trying to emulate x86.
It's tough.
This does not bode well.
Tough to admit if you're Microsoft. But it's probably better than trying to do it and screwing it up, which is what they usually do with their products. And this was a miss sort. Tim Sweeney once again comes out with a crazy statement, a bit hypocritical.
Yeah.
Considering like he could be the first, right?
That's what he said.
I don't think he's going to do that.
No. Epic Games CEO renews his attack on Apple and calls for a single universal app store. He says, we don't need an Apple or Google app store. If we're going to go app stores, we're going to go central authority. We need one massive, Costco central app authority that works on the Apple platform and the Android platform and PCs and Macs and, dogs sleeping with cats. I don't know.
I think that would be a huge security issue.
Not only would that be a huge security issue, can you imagine something that was overseen like the Department of Motor Vehicles, for example?
Or the government takes control of it.
Yeah.
And then the App Store is just completely politicized.
Yeah. Just garbage. Garbage all the way up and down.
This should be a monopoly is basically what that article said.
Not that it isn't already completely politicized, but they will make money first. If you let the government do it, they will just crush dissent first.
Maybe he realizes how absurd that is, and it'll just descend into you should be able to install what you want on your hardware.
I don't think he wants that. That would promote piracy.
I think that he wants that more than what he's got right now.
He does have the least to lose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably like he's the most behind in the race. So hobbling everybody is good for him.
Yeah.
Well, Brave browser, I always download Brave browser and I'm like, yeah, I should switch over to start using this, but I have some sort of mental block to it. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because all my stuff is in the other ones and it's so annoying. But I do like the idea of it. And this is also interesting. I wonder what kind of security risk this is, though.
Brave browser now includes a built-in crypto wallet. No extension required. So this might eventually make it possible so that if you're on Bloomberg and it's like paywall, 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 and it's like, look, if I just give you 25 cents right now, one click will you go away, maybe people will do that.
I'm not doing it.
I think I would be inclined to do that. Like if it was, I could just, hit a button and give them some crypto and they don't have any of my info. They don't know who I am. They know nothing. And I get whatever it is I want to look at for like a week or...
But they'll never remove those analytics because they have to have that to send you ads.
You're perpetuating the legacy media.
Well, not necessarily in the context of legacy media. I mean, yes, it does perpetuate legacy media, but as like a way of funding content on the internet versus ads, I would be okay with that.
You know what? Like during some of this trial stuff, I've seen a couple of Fox News clips, and the Fox News anchors have the absolute brass balls, like Carlson and Gutfeld. They refer to everybody except Fox News as the legacy media. How is Fox News not the legacy media?
We're basically the legacy media at this point. Come on.
Well, when it comes to disrupting legacy businesses, electric cars are the new wave. And, I made a comment last week. Somebody chastised in the comments was like, Tesla's not the only one. There's so many more. Yeah, but you've never heard of them.
Right.
And I had not. I mean, I know we did a story about Lucid, but I hadn't seen this car, I don't think.
Yeah, Lucid Air named MotorTrend Car of the Year. Can you buy one?
Yeah, 140 grand.
I've come very close to paying off my mortgage.
Forget that. I was, the Rivian thing was like, can you buy a Rivian? And it's like, why are they worth so much? It's like, nope.
They start at 77 grand, but the one they tested was 140.
But you could buy so much more real estate for that.
Maybe not in other parts of the country.
Well, not in California. That gets you like
a shack.
Yeah, a tool shed.
I think they said the only thing they really criticized about it was that they didn't like all the touchscreens.
Right, yeah.
Which, again, I don't know why you'd want a bunch of touchscreens in a car when you're trying to drive, but...
That strikes me as like, it's the car of the year because all of the other cars couldn't be manufactured due to the chip shortage.
No, man, didn't Tesla move a record number this year?
Yeah.
So the competitors are out there. Although the Tesla is actually like a huge deal compared to that car.
Well, Tesla took a different approach to the shortages. Somebody on my Twitter feed took a picture of their Tesla that they just bought, and where the USB-C charging ports should be are just blank empty holes. And they're just like, we couldn't get it, so you don't get
Sucks
that.
to suck.
I'm sure they knocked $500 or $600 off the price of the car, right?
No.
I've seen a lot more people are getting Teslas around here, and my God, I'm astounded by how ugly they are. They are disgusting.
I don't really care about the aesthetic. I mean, they're fine.
There's a place on Alibaba that is a drop-in replacement for like the front spoiler, and like I don't care about any of that. But even I'm forced to admit that like the Alibaba like front kit for those Teslas looks amazingly better than stock. It looks like a different car, and it's so much better. And I don't know anything.
Well, it's subjective.
I think everybody subjectively is like, that's a poor design for the front of that car.
You've welcomed some comments, haven't you?
Engagement challenge. It was going to be low this week. We're trying to juice their numbers.
All right, so this will be Wednesday. So you have 2 days to prepare for the real American holiday, which is Black Friday. Are you ready? I think the stores are going to open up this year, right? I don't know if they're going to have the same kind of deals. I mean, with the chip shortage, I got to think that the battle for the TVs is going to be hotter than ever, right?
But still, everything is still double the price. We had to buy some monitors the other day, and it was just like, it's twice what they were 6 months ago or a year ago.
That's tough. But the prices on TVs, some TVs at least, are low enough where you look at them and you're like, wow, how are they doing that? Well, this story is going to tell you, and this is something you have to keep in mind if you are going to do some Black Friday shopping, because you have to ask yourself, who made this TV? What kind of software is running on it?
The Verge reports Vizio's profit on ads, subscriptions, and data is double the money it makes on selling TVs. Ooh. Mom's TV is a Vizio, and it's not on the network. But it gets real aggressive sometimes about setting it up, and she gets confused because she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, but it's like, no, you need to set this up so you can watch Netflix. And I was like, you don't have to do that. There's Netflix on this other thing. And she's like, but the TV wants my name and it wants on the network and this other stuff. And I was like, I don't know how. But she's not doing it. She's not hitting a button. It's just every now and then the TV's like, by the way, I'm not on the network. I really need you to do that.
For sure, every time they update, they will harass you.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have any way of knowing if it needs an update.
Oh, you're off the Wi-Fi completely.
Yeah.
So it's just a timer. It's got there. That's
Wow.
hilarious. Probably the number of turn-ons, right?
Yeah, I don't know. She's like, it's doing it again. It's
The
like,
thing I've always been confused about with like the Black Friday TV deals is it's like people go out and buy one every year, and it's just why? Why do you need a new TV?
When I
every year?
lived in the, like the slum apartments, on Super Bowl weekend, everybody's trash can had a TV box leaned up against it. Like they all bought TVs, and it was every year.
Why? Why? I've had the same TV for like 10 years.
I guess that's just the American way of life, right?
you get a bigger TV and then put last year's TV in another room. And then after, 10 years, every room has a TV.
Yeah, because you've had 3 more illegitimate kids during that year, and one of them's gotten old enough to need their own TV. So it works out, I guess. Well, NFTs, as we learned last week, maybe losing some of their luster. Some of them are not doing as well as people would hope who invested early. And the other thing about NFTs is some people, I think, got into it early because of the FOMO, and now they're learning what they really have, which is a link.
Or token.
And other than that, you really just have a picture that everyone else also has.
The NFT Bay shares multi-terabyte archive of pirated NFTs. We touched on this a little bit last week, but it's not 19.5 terabytes of NFTs, or things that have been sold as NFTs.
And they, they point out here that like this guy is going around and like trying to tell people, hey, look, all that you have in this NFT is a link to Google Drive. This is not going to be there in a year, maybe 2.
Or less.
And then you've got nothing. So that's unfortunate.
You've got the experience you learned from.
Did I not sort correctly?
Oh.
I didn't. Oh, wait, this is kind of like a crypto block. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yes. Little rearrangement. Those of you following along on the one tab, I'm sorry. And crypto, NFTs, they're hot. Everybody's trying to get involved. We heard about sports teams. Last week it was the music industry, and now
Crypto co-stars with Hollywood. Andreessen Horowitz, the venture capital firm, is advising Hollywood on cryptography things.
why would they replace the W?
I've been sitting here looking at that, and it's bothering me. Also, wouldn't a more obvious one be making the O's into zeros, put a slash through it?
This is really poorly done.
Yeah, no one considered this at all.
So they point out
That's that same screeching again.
a lot of new movies are trying to get into this kind of thing. Everything that comes out now has to be bundled with NFTs.
I hate this new world we're going into. I hate it.
You're going to hate it so much more
Yes.
as it rolls out. And one man who has fallen to the wayside of public opinion, perhaps because of his cozy relationship with China, amazingly he speaks Mandarin.
Yeah.
What a crazy skill that you wouldn't expect him to have. But everybody, all these headlines are like, oh, John Cena, he's got to be sad about this. Oh, the poor guy. No, he got full price. He's fine. He did the best of all. He took an asset that was worth nothing, sold it for a huge price, way more than it was worth.
Celebrity NFTs risk quote-unquote catastrophic failure. Just ask John Cena. Tokens from Grimes and $AP Rocky fall, leaving buyers with losses. But they're picking on John Cena because he actually made a profit. Everybody else has losses.
I wonder if Grimes will tweet saying, "Oh, maybe I don't like NFTs after all."
I think she got her money too, though, right?
She got a lot of money. I don't know if she made a profit.
5-something million.
Well,
Yeah.
But it wasn't just one.
Yeah.
She sold a bunch.
Yeah,
of
she
them.
sold a bunch.
But they were just dumb stuff. One of them was like, I guess supposed to be her baby with a pitchfork stabbing the world or something like that. Just stupid stuff. It was no Picasso, that's for sure.
That's a callback to last week. If you missed last week's episode, you really should watch
This
those.
is the nonsense section, right?
Oh my gosh.
Was it nonsense or robot?
Yeah.
Nonsense.
How would that be robot?
I don't know.
Here's some good news for those of you who are web developers and had to deal with this horror.
Oh my god. Twitter rolls back AMP support, no longer sends users to AMP pages. Not only that, there have been a lot of disclosures in legal cases, in case you missed it. AMP was actually a vehicle designed to juice the analytics numbers for ads and ad sales and crap like that, apparently. So you might want to check out some of that documentation. Turns out AMP wasn't actually beneficial if you knew what you were doing.
And Twitter cutting it out has had a huge impact on the traffic, and more people are saying, well, without that, is there any point? The answer is no. Unfortunately, another bad sort. This would have gone perfectly
Yeah.
after the story that we just did before the last one.
Quentin Tarantino's attorney responds to Pulp Fiction NFT lawsuit. Miramax is wrong. So Miramax wanted to capitalize on NFTs with Pulp Fiction, and Quentin Tarantino wanted to capitalize on NFTs. And Quentin Tarantino says that he has the rights to publish the written draft, script, manuscript, whatever, of Pulp Fiction. And Miramax says, no, well, maybe, but that doesn't include NFTs.
Handwritten by him.
Yeah.
So that's not the one they used on production, obviously. They typed it out and used that one for production. They are also saying that, well, yeah, Quentin, that might be yours because you do have ownership of it. Like it's in your house. But because we own the rights, you should have come to us first.
Except I think he owns the rights for publication to this script, according to the contract law lawyer.
But this is not the script. That's what they're saying is this is not the script. This is part of the marketing of the movie.
It's a token that represents the script. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out in court. I'm kind of on Tarantino's side because contract law can't be like, everything not specified in the contract belongs to Miramax. That's crazy.
All future inventions that are somewhat related to this.
Yeah.
But that would be the dream of the corporations, right?
Yeah. We would have never had the whole, Lucas toy thing.
Well, that's a perfect lead-in because how much can you actually patent, right? If you just come up with a novel way of delivering something, like Netflix, for example, the argument here is that if Peloton can sue these other companies, shouldn't Netflix be able to sue Disney Plus and everybody else?
Yeah.
Same exact argument.
Peloton sues rivals over alleged patent infringement related to on-demand classes. It's like, hey, if you want to watch things on demand on your treadmill, we own that.
And leaderboard. They own the leaderboard. Videogames have never done that before, right? And they own live classes that you can interact with.
So they own Zoom automatically by default.
Or Zoom owns that over everybody else that did it. That's not having to do with exercise.
I think Peloton might be on the downward spiral. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, we learned last week that because they blamed Apple. Remember last week it was Apple's fault. Now it's all the other fitness companies' fault.
Yeah, I think that company might have crested.
So, pro investment tip.
Speaking of other pro investment tips, what about Rockstar and Take-Two?
Oh my God! So let's just do a quick roll up to this. Rockstar came out of nowhere and shut down a bunch of fan projects that were trying to rehash the graphics, and actually they were doing it in the new engine, right?
Yeah.
The GTA 5 engine. They were going to put all the old games in it, and Rockstar was like, "Nope, you're not doing that."
They had already done that and done it well.
Right.
But you had to own both the old game and GTA 5 for it to work.
So a lot of people were like, why would you do this? This sells your game. All they have to do is go buy those old games. And, well, everybody guessed that it was something like this. Turns out it's true. But not only is it this, they have now taken away those old games completely.
Yeah. 3 days later, the remastered GTA trilogy is still unplayable on PC, even if you bought it. Update, it's back. But it is a buggy mess. It is... it's incredibly bad. Like it is astonishingly bad. Some of those old assets from like GTA 3, they obviously paid some people to like redo the textures to be higher resolution. But some of the textures have words in them, like donut shop. But the people that did the upscaling apparently didn't understand the language because some letters got dropped and transposed. No one noticed. And so things are really hilarious. There was a Tough Nut donut shop that was like a low poly donut and then an actual nut. And
both were round in the final version.
Yeah, they upped the poly count on the donut as well as the hex nut. The hex nut should not have gotten an increase in the number of polygons. That's a big oops. So Rockstar ham-fisted, like they didn't care. They didn't put love into it. Like if you're going to remaster the games, it's like these are beloved, cherished classics. Think about the blood and the sweat and the tears that went into like the Disney classics. Disney realizes that they're going to have some human sacrifice when they upscale the new one to re-release it. But GTA didn't even do that. They didn't even, there was no suffering, there was no pain, there was no reverence for the old material. It's just a cash grab.
And once again, this happened with another one of their releases. They accidentally left the files in there. Remember when they accidentally left the files in that would let you bypass the copy protection? This time around, we weren't sure exactly what they left in there, but it was presumed to be hot coffee.
And copyrighted music that they no longer have the rights to.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
How could you have screwed that up that badly?
If you were just on a cash grab and you just wanted to half-ass something and,
shut down the little guy.
Yeah, the independent mods were infinity % better. Like it's not even a comparison. The fan mods were like lovingly handcrafted. And I guarantee you that Rockstar could have spent less money just paying off the people that did the old mods. Like, hey.
What about, I wonder if they explored at all the additional copies of GTA 5 they might sell because of those old
versus
remasters.
Everything else, yeah.
Versus whatever they're going to sell here.
Well, they made just an incredible mistake because this is, anybody that's paying attention to what they're doing, I feel like they screwed up big time.
But here's the thing. And I hate this about our world and myself. We're all going to play GTA 6.
Very sad.
Well, Windows 11, Windows 11, they did a lot of horrible things. They were back to the old Microsoft, the ugly Microsoft.
The one that had to go to antitrust land.
Yeah, and they made no apologies about it, and they just kept doubling down. And it seems like they're going to continue doing that.
Microsoft to block Windows 11 browser workarounds. So the deal with this is if you go through the trouble of setting up a browser other than Edge, because Edge comes with Windows, Microsoft makes it a lot of mouse clicks to change from Edge to Firefox. And when you do that, sometimes when you open a file, it'll still open an Edge. And it's because you didn't change some obscure file extension somewhere, or you didn't change a particular preference. It's like, no, I want everything to be Firefox. There's not an easy way to do that. But once you change everything to Firefox, if you want to change everything back to Edge, it's one click to change everything. So Firefox said, well, that's not very fair. And they looked at how Edge was doing it, and so they decided to do the same thing. And Microsoft has said, we're going to block that.
There was a module or something called Edge Deflector that you could get. That's gone. That will no longer work. And the registry hacks are also mitigated.
Yeah, so that seems like that would be evidence in an antitrust trial.
Well, we know that going against the narrative on YouTube will get you dropped real quick. And you will get no explanation and you will get no recourse. You were just gone. You just disappeared. But what happens when one of the more iconic videos on YouTube, in fact, the first one ever uploaded, the original YouTube video, all of a sudden goes against the narrative?
YouTube co-founder predicts the decline of the platform following the removal of dislikes. Everyone disliked that.
I've seen sometimes people will just comment dislike now.
So he is speaking out through the description on the first video ever uploaded to YouTube. And you can check out the story and read what he said here. He was not complimentary about their recent decision making.
Nope.
I don't know that there's a lot of places that can compete with YouTube yet just because of the cost, but maybe that'll change.
There have been a lot of really suspect things that have happened with, old media and YouTube, and yeah, it's not.
Sure.
It's very disturbing.
YouTube, I think how you said we're almost legacy media at this point. YouTube for sure is as a company. Unfortunate.
Join us on Patreon or Floatplane. Store.level1text.com, where you can get these nice mouse pads or, other things.
I'm not sure Patreon is necessarily new media now either. I think they might have been compromised during that whole credit card crackdown. Well, Facebook is insanely popular in some of the smaller countries of the world because these people maybe didn't have the same level of, like digital revolution that we did. And then all of a sudden Facebook comes around and you have this whole new world of connectivity. Unless you're in Cambodia. Because certain things about technology in Cambodia are... imagine being a young Cambodian. Imagine a young Cambodian Wendell. How quickly do you learn English to try to get around this?
Very quickly.
Age 9?
Yeah. 50% of Facebook Messenger's voice traffic comes from Cambodia. Here's why. The answer is the written language there has 74 characters, and nobody ever designed a reasonable way to input that on a screen.
Even like keyboards themselves, I think, were difficult to like design. It took a long time for them to come to keyboards, and then it was like, oh, we need them to be on a screen.
So, yeah,
and that was
soft
impossible.
keyboards. Yeah, because you're like tripling the size of our soft keyboard.
Yeah.
Imagine that. There's no way. It's crazy.
Apparently, a lot of young people, they use the voice feature, which they thought was strange. But then they also, they'll just write Cambodian words, but like in Romanized characters in English, sort of.
How long is it inevitable that the Cambodian language dies because of that?
Yes.
How
Yeah.
long?
Within 20 years.
There'll be a big outcry about that from the media. It's like, oh, it's racist and evil. But
It is kind of sad, though, to lose your language like that. I know Iceland has the same problem with their language. They're trying to make sure kids don't forget it. But, I mean, it's hard because...
I don't know if they would see it that way. I bet the younger generation, instead of seeing it like, oh, this is our thing and it's beautiful, they're just like, I want a keyboard.
Yeah.
I want to chat. Because they're watching media. And on the media, like every TV show has text messaging in it, right?
Yeah.
These days. Yeah. Interesting. Ohio's largest public pension fund did something extremely stupid. They took a massive risk, and they knew there was a risk, but somehow they think that they shouldn't be subjected to that because it's public money.
Ohio's largest pension sues Facebook, saying the media giant misled investors. So the public pension invested in Facebook because they said this is the growth and this is the thing and we're going to do this and blah, blah, blah. Don't know why they didn't just use an index fund. You know, an index fund outperforms all of the advisor funds for the last 50 years if you just do an index fund.
But these guys, these fund managers, they're like, no. I'm better than that. I want a growth fund.
But historically, that's wrong.
Well,
If it's I don't know.
and you take your medicine and you probably get replaced by the pension fund. That's what should happen.
We had that happen here, and it's going to lead to a crisis. We've seen how this story plays out in a different state. It's not good. They don't get their money back.
If you're in a pension fund and you find out they're investing in big tech like that, I would make some phone calls.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah. I remember getting a phone call about 15 years ago when that happened here, and I was like, do you think this is a good thing? And I was like, no. And they pulled all their stuff, and I got a call about 6 months ago that was like, do you remember that call? And honestly, I didn't. And they were like, you saved my ass. So that's funny.
And the metaverse, everybody keeps announcing their metaverse, which is weird because if we have a bunch of competing metaverses, it's
Isn't that just everybody's franchise? I don't...
Was it William Gibson or Neil Stephenson that has said it's okay? They said it's like everybody call it that.
He's also, his new book is about climate change. I think he's just trying to cash grab this. But he did invent it, and everybody else is adopting it one by one. This name is big, which always blows my mind how much of a player this company is.
Roblox, building out the metaverse, looks to bring educational video games to schools. Roblox is really popular with
Younger kids.
Yeah.
So much so that I went to their website to read more about them, and there was a page for parents, and I was like, I'll click that one.
But after what we've learned about Facebook, isn't that exactly what you want in that business?
Yeah, that's true.
Get them young.
Facebook to buy Roblox or Roblox to buy Facebook?
Metablocks. Oh, man, who do you think owns metablocks.com?
One of our viewers now.
Yeah.
No, there's no way that's available. No chance.
All right, what do we got for Friday?
Security?
There wasn't really a lot of nonsense this week, or maybe there was.
I fumbled the nonsense. I had a good batch of nonsense, and then the stupid editor ate it all, and I put back what I could. But I can't believe I missed that tennis story. I got to remember to get the tennis story right now.
We'll forget. Anyway, we'll see you guys then. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Be careful on Black Friday.